Good morning and welcome to this webinar presented by Trigg Minerals. Today we're joined by Trigg's Managing Director Andre Booyzen, Executive Chairman Timothy Morrison and Chief Geologist Jonathan King. Today's webinar will focus on Trigg's recently announced acquisition of the Antimony Canyon Project in Utah, USA. I'll now hand over to Timothy and the team.
Thank you, Kristen. And we're thrilled today to have the opportunity to talk to shareholders and outline the strategic rationale behind our acquisition of the Antimony Canyon Project in Utah. Today, Andre will discuss the broader rationale and the broader market trends in the antimony space that support our acquisition in Utah. And we'll also talk about the recent addition to the team of Vihan Kleihans, a global leader in the antimony industry. And then Jonathan will provide an overview of the geological setting and the potential at Antimony Canyon. Before I hand over to Andre, I want to thank Andre for his immediate contribution to the team. Andre has delivered value to Trigg shareholders from day one through his vision and drive. He's driven the strategic acquisition of a key US asset, positioning the company as a global leader in the development of antimony projects for the US market. And he's building a team with unique experience drawing on his global networks. So Andre, with that, thank you, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thanks for those kind words. So just starting off to say we've actually got a great team at Trigg. I mean, the board of directors is pretty much hands-on and involved, and they're always bringing new opportunities and new ideas to the game. So it's a team effort from everyone. So just coming back to the USA, just a bit about the antimony market in the USA and why we felt it was probably a good time to go into the USA. So the US is the largest consumer of antimony in the Western world. Now, obviously, they can't supply a lot of it themselves. Various reasons, the main one being their previous reliance on China, which is now dried up, as China can't even supply their own demands anymore. The US itself has got pretty much many antimony deposits, some discovered, some undiscovered, some previous mined over the last 150 years. And we just thought, well, the US is a good opportunity for Trigg. There's access to a lot more finance than there is in Australia. And there's also a large amount of government grants to help explore for critical minerals like antimony and to develop them into mines. So another good thing about the US is the regulators in the US are a lot more pro-mining. You know, they're fast-tracking critical mineral applications. So we think it's going to be a lot quicker for us to get approvals in the longer term than it would be in many other jurisdictions. You've all seen the recent announcement about Vihan Kleihans coming on board. So again, that's part of our strategy to go downstream, process the antimony that we're mining, and eventually end up with some smelting capacity as well. So we're on a drive to expand our opportunities not just to Utah, but to other areas of the US. And you'll see announcements coming out over the next 6 months to a year, just announcing those acquisitions as well. So just keep a lookout for those. Just a bit about the Antimony Canyon in Utah. We're pretty excited about this. Jono's even more excited than I am. For us, it's a strategic project. It's low cost. It's in the #1 jurisdiction in the world. I mean, what other place do you want to be than a town called Antimony? There's massive upside in terms of exploration and expanding to new areas. We don't think it's going to be as capital intensive as some of the other deposits like Perpetuas. Like I said before, the area itself has been mined extensively and historically for antimony for many years. And the big plus for us is there's no real access issues and there's no real big environmental red flags for us. So that's just in a nutshell where we are with Utah and why we've gone to the US. Jono, I'll hand over to you to just talk a bit about our exploration plans and the geology.
Good one. Okay, thanks, Andre. Yeah, as Andre said, I think this is a fantastic footprint and a fantastic bridgehead for us to step into the US and build a presence there. The project itself, as Andre said, It has been mined historically. It was last mined in the 1960s, where some high-grade positions were pulled out. But really, in terms of what is known about this area, it's just in its infancy. If we step back to the start, we know that, like most deposits around the world, it was discovered mainly because it was exposed through erosion and the formation of the canyon itself. And that led to deposits of stibnite as in the talus slopes along the canyon foot walls, and also in the drainage lines. And that material was picked up and mined in the very early days. And of course, as that dried up, people moved higher up into the landscape, and then they found the primary sources for the antimony. And that's pretty much where things sit today. People have scavenged into the walls of the canyon, but they haven't really done a great deal of work. So that means that much of the original mineralization remains in place. And we know that it's there because, of course, we've got those two resource figures that we spoke of in the acquisition announcement. And those numbers are quite reinforcing. And they also give you some confidence because they're basically taking advantage of the 3D shapes that they can see within the walls of the canyon. They get a good feel for the width of the mineralization, a good feel for the grade, and it also gives some depth continuity from those other drainages, the secondary drainages, which are now reaching back into the canyon walls. So we've got really good exposure. We know those numbers are pretty close to being real. They just need to be drilled. So another thing that we do know is that there is a lot of continuity to this mineralization, probably along these north-south fault lines, which run subparallel to the, now forgive me for the name and my mispronunciation, but I think it's called the Paugenet Fault, which is the major bounding structure on the western side. We can see that the host lithology, which is a calcareous sandstone, which essentially just means that these fluids have been pumping up this fault, feeding off into the secondary splays. The fluids come up, they hit this calcareous sandstone horizon, which has failed brittly on deformation and probably a bit of hydraulic pressure. And the carbonate that's present in that unit essentially destabilizes the fluid. Antimony drops out. It's a pretty simple model. We understand it. And we can see that as you step away from the Antimony Canyon itself, there's a cover sequence on top. We think this mineralization persists all the way through. So we know that there's another position some kilometers away, and we see that as just an obvious extension to Antimony Canyon. So we love the host, we love the prospectivity. We think there's an easy opportunity to grow this resource. I will also add that that resource came from only 6 mines in this area. There is 30 to 40 more mines that need to be considered. They haven't been considered, and there's an immediate opportunity just around those. So we see an easy opportunity to grow this resource, and so that is really the next task. So what is the next task? We have a team entering the field, hopefully in the next week or so. Their primary duty is to go in there and just consolidate our knowledge. We really need to know where these mines are, where these trenches were, can we still see them on the ground, do some geological mapping, capture that information in preparation for the next phases of work, which obviously will be some sampling, some geophysics, and then progressing towards drilling, hopefully before the end of this year. It should be before the end of this year, given the rate at which America is permitting work for critical minerals. So we'll be in that space drilling this year and then advancing towards further studies, hopefully early to mid 2026.
Thank you very much, John. Thanks for that update. And I think every time I listen to you, I get another lesson in geology.
Let's just hope that it's a good lesson.
Yes, always good. Thanks, John. So just to really wrap up, again, I would just want to say thanks to all our shareholders for sticking with us. We're not going to disappoint you in the long run. So thank you, and thanks again to all our our service providers that we work with, and then our partners in equity as well. We know everyone is a team. We all know where we want to take Trigg, and we know we're gonna do some great things over the next year or two. So thank you very much, guys, and thanks for listening in.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And a recording of this webinar will be made available in the coming days. And for further updates, visit Trigg's website at www.trigg.com.au. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.